Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to allocate one or more resources to tasks in the Vue Gantt Chart component based on the task requirement. First, I open my existing Vue project, where all the necessary Gantt chart modules are configured. I have added the data.js file, which has hierarchical local JSON data, assigned to the data source property. I've also mapped data source fields to add columns. If you would like to learn more about configuring a Vue Gantt chart, I recommend watching my Getting Started video. You can find the link to the video in the card above and the description below. Let me run this application using the command npm run serve. See here, the left pane has a tree grid, and the right pane has a chart with a project timeline. First, I will show you how to allocate resources to the Gantt chart. Resources are JSON objects that contain an ID, name, unit, and a group of resources. In the data.js file, I have added the editing resources object, which has fields like resource ID and resource name. Notice the resource data object, it contains a collection of resource IDs and resource unit in each task. When the unit is not specified, the amount of work done will be considered 100% by default. So, this collection needs to be mapped to the Gantt chart control using the resources property. I import the editing resources object from the data.js file. Assign it to the resources variable. And then assign this variable to the resources property of the component. In the task settings, map the assigned resources of the task using the resource info field. Also, define the resource fields object. And map the resource ID from the data source to the ID property. And the resource name to the name property. Assign this object to the resource fields property of the Gantt component. Then, add the eColumn tag to show the resource details from the data source. And map the assigned resources of the task using the field property. Check the Gantt now. The resource column is seen in the tree grid, and it displays the resource names assigned to the task. Let's see how to show resource labels on the Gantt chart using the label settings property. To do that, I declare an object variable label options and assign the resources field to the right label option. Then assign this label options variable to the label settings property of the Gantt component. Look here, resources are shown in the label on the right side of the taskbar. Next, I will show you how to edit the resources assigned to the task. I import the edit module from the EJ2 Vue Gantt package and inject it into the provide object. And then, I add the variable edit options of the object type and set the allow editing property to true. Then I assign this variable to the edit settings property of the Gantt chart. Since I'm going to edit the resources, I set the custom width to this column. Checking now, when I double-click the tree grid cell in the resources column, the drop-down is shown, where I can assign more resources or remove the existing ones. When I double-click the taskbar, the dialog will pop out, and under the Resources tab, I can add or remove the resources. I can also edit the units. To edit resources in a tree grid dialog, I include the mode property and set its value to dialog. When I double-click the resources column data, the dialog will be shown, and I can edit the resource name under the Resources tab. To add a new task with resource details, I enable the Allow Adding property in the Edit options. To show Add option on the toolbar, I import the module toolbar from the EJ2 Vue Gantt package and inject it into the Provide object. Then, I include the toolbar options variable with the option Add. I assign this variable to the toolbar property. Now, when I click the Add Toolbar button, the dialog pops out with the default value. I fill in the necessary details under the General and Resources tabs. Next, I will show you how to show the list of tasks assigned to each resource in a hierarchical manner. To achieve this, I include the View Type property and set the Resource View option. Looking now, you can see the list of tasks assigned to each resource hierarchically. A task with no resource assigned comes under the Unassigned Task category. What if a resource is assigned to 2 or more tasks scheduled on the same date? We call this overallocation. I enable the Show Overallocation property to highlight the overallocated date ranges with square brackets. As you can see, the overallocated tasks are highlighted in square brackets. When the tree grid records are in a collapsed state, you cannot see multiple tasks assigned to each resource. To overcome this, divide the taskbar for each resource by adding the Enable Multitaskbar property and setting its value to true. Then, map the task name field from the data source to the task label property to display the taskbar label. Check the Gantt now, the taskbar is divided based on the tasks assigned to the resource. In this video, I have shown you how to allocate one or more resources to tasks in the Gantt chart. I also showed you the resource breakdown view and resource multitask bar. You can download a working example from the GitHub link in the description below. In the description, I've also provided a link where you can see if you're eligible for our community license, which will provide you with a free license key to use our products. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this video useful, give it a like and subscribe to our channel.